Hi there, everybody. This is Lee. Talking about Standing Rock, Native American self-determination, and Flint, Michigan, plus the Trump campaign with this video. I'm starting off with an article at CounterPunch from Beverly Bell, December 21st. Native Waters, Native Warriors, from Standing Rock to Honduras. And so this article provides a very informative parallel of what's happening in Honduras and how Honduras is ground zero for violence and repression against Native activists, tribes who are trying to protect their environmental resources that they need for their lives: clean water source, clean land, maintaining forests. And how the violence is so severe in Honduras that there's been multiple deaths and assassinations. Berta Caceres is the most well known from earlier this year, but there have been many violent reprisals. And we think we've seen it all with Standing Rock, but Honduras has been violently oppressed. The most egregious part of this is the fact that Hillary Clinton recognized and normalized the military coup government in Honduras that has been targeting and assassinating environmental activists in Honduras. And so the parallel to Standing Rock is that the people supported what Standing Rock, the Sioux Nation, had started in terms of protecting their environment. They had put a moratorium on fracking, new pipelines, and they had been attending meetings and filing documents and using the court system. And the corporation, Energy Transfer Partners, still tried its very best to target the Native Americans in this region for violent reprisal by taking over state government in North Dakota. Fortunately, the people around the nation, around the world, came to support what the Sioux Nation started. And then the veterans showed up and made an either even greater impact. And so, fortunately for us, those who are downstream of the Lake Oahe, the Missouri River, where that planned crossing of the pipeline into the river, the likely contamination of the water source of 18 million people, has been halted. So the fight continues, the need for maintaining eternal vigilance over natural resources from people who would use, these, the power of capital to basically crush people, poison the water, create frack quakes, contaminate the water, contaminate the air, contaminate the soil, throw people out of their homes without any adequate compensation for land and property. All of this to send oil and gas overseas that's not even used domestically. And so I'm going to post a link to this article in CounterPunch. There's also another article at Common Dreams. Trudeau touts Trump's support for KXL, Keystone XL pipeline. And since Justin Trudeau seems very supportive of Donald Trump's past support for KXL, there's fears of pipeline resurrection. So I'm going to post a link in that description. So we'll see the Canadian side of the pipeline adventures. Canada's also trying to run a pipeline into Oregon to hit the Pacific coast, and there's fights against that. Keystone XL, of course, and then upcoming environmental intentions of the Trudeau administration. And so Trudeau seems to think he has an ally in Trump. I'll post a link in the description, and you can see if Trudeau is justified in thinking that that might be the case. I certainly hope he is wrong. Okay, and so I'm going to follow up with an article about Flint, and then another article. These are articles at Truth Out. The first one is Flint, as two unelected emergency managers are charged over water poisoning. Will Governor Snyder be next? And so there is the beginning of accountability for what's happening in Flint, Michigan. It's taken some time, it's taken years, but that time is apparently arriving, that there has been accountability, at least from the start, that people are being charged for what has happened to the children of Flint, and actually still happening, as there is still lead in the water. There's money that has been released, but people are saying, well, it's coming to the state government, that federal money, that emergency money to fix the problem, and they're sending that money to the state, which are the officials who caused the problem in the first place. But we'll see what happens. This Michigan was a Trump state. Hopefully, Trump, being a builder and a construction manager and owner and a project kind of guy, hopefully he will see that something gets done. In the meantime, that there is accountability for legal accountability for what has been done in Flint, Michigan. I'll post a link in the description. This is by Amy Goodman of Democracy Now! Okay, and so the next article is by Michael J. Dax of Yes Magazine. This is the right thing to do. Energy CEO on ending leases to drill near Blackfeet Nation. And so something's happening in the United States. People seem to think that, like some have said, there is no hope under a Trump administration. But as long as people continue to speak up, and stand up for their beliefs and speak out, there's always hope. And so this is what's happening. People are standing up. This is in Montana, and the Blackfeet Nation is there. They have been threatened by Pipeline, Solonex LLC. It's a Louisiana-based company. They sued the Interior Department for preventing it from developing its lease due to a moratorium. And so the tribe actually partnered with several local, regional, and national environmental organizations. And I think that's key. Just like Sioux Nation at Standing Rock reached out to allies, so did Blackfeet Nation. They reached out for allies to assist them. And so the goodwill fostered by this collaboration, it garnered national media attention, as well as support from state and federal politicians, and that convinced the Interior Department to cancel Solenex's lease. And so it's still not entirely in the clear. As usual, we always have to, in these situations, maintain vigilance to make sure that once the black snake is dead, it stays dead and doesn't do a Freddy Jason, Friday 13th, Michael Myers resurrection. So, but, Blackfeet Nation, Standing Rock Sioux Nation, the Lenca tribe in Honduras, they're showing people around the world how to stand up. So I read through these articles. I have a final one, and this is about the Interior Secretary. This is a follow-up to Rick Perry, who was chosen by the Trump administration to be the Energy Department Secretary. Now we have Montana Republican Representative Brian Zinke. He's been tapped for the Interior Secretary, so he would work with Rick Perry. Okay, and so he is from Montana. Speaking of Blackfeet Nation, he's a former Navy SEAL, and he's been selected for Secretary of the Interior. He's retired as commander at the Navy SEAL in 2008 after more than two decades in the service. And so he's been representing Montana's at-large district. He's a member of the Committee on Armed Services and Natural Resources. And so Trump is saying that his administration's goal is to repeal bad regulations and use our natural resources to create jobs and wealth for American people. And apparently Ryan Zinke will be expected to explore every possibility for how to safely and responsibly do that. And so, according to this article, the Interior Secretary is responsible for the nation's public lands, water, and natural resources, and oversees the Bureau of Indian Affairs and Safety and Environmental Enforcement, among others. In the past, Zinke has been critical of the EPA and their regulations that force coal-using power plants to cut emissions or risk being shut down. And so that falls in line with Governor Rick Perry's and the Oklahoma Attorney General Scott Pruitt, who's been tapped to head the EPA. Frackquake Central in Oklahoma. They're gonna be heading the EPA. Okay. But anyway, according to Zinke, who's been selected for the Secretary of the Interior, he says he was humbled to be chosen and he vows to uphold the sovereign rights of Native American tribes. He says, and I can quote him saying, "I will work tirelessly to ensure our public lands are managed and preserved in a way that benefits everyone for generations to come," he said. "Most important, our sovereign Indian nations and territories must have the respect and freedom they deserve." So there you go. We've got some interesting appointments by the Trump administration in several key positions: EPA, Interior, and Energy. What is it all going to come about to look like? I said before that Rick Perry is the governor of Texas, which is very strong on fossil fuel energy harvesting, transportation distribution, and then also wind energy. So old energy, fossil fuel energy, and then also new energy. Texas is a leader in the United States, so it could go either way. And then we've got this representative from Montana, where Blackfeet Nation has decided that it would stand up for indigenous rights and the environment. And there's been a temporary halt to more further building, at least with Solonex. And then, we've got that, and then we've got Zinke saying that he will uphold sovereign tribal rights. So, we don't know what way things are going to go. It could go either way. Maybe it's actually up to us to make sure that it goes the best way. And if we can converge in Washington, D.C., I definitely think these are issues to converge over. Indigenous tribal rights, the environment, clean water, in Native American arenas, and then also urban arenas when it comes to Flint. People are converging and standing up and holding people accountable for water contamination in urban areas too. These are issues that I do think it is worthwhile to protest. This is something definitely that is defensible: clean water, healthy children, healthy environment, etc. And I do believe that it's important to hold all of our officials accountable at the state and local level, certainly at the federal level. Trump won his campaign. Now he has to govern. and he's assembling a team that he has to be accountable for their actions. Everything they do reflects on him. And so hopefully Governor Rick Perry, while serving at the pleasure of Donald Trump has to keep in mind that he has a nation to lead. What Rick Perry decides, what Representative Zinke decides, what people from Oklahoma, the Scott Pruitt, what he decides, it's a reflection on Trump. Hopefully they'll make the right decisions. Good luck.